Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today, I'm looking at Dynasty stashes. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's jump into our first player, Pierre Strong. So, Pierre Strong played as the backup running back to Jerome Ford for the Browns in week 1. He didn't do much. He had 2 carries for 10 yards and 2 catches for 20 yards on 3 targets. So, he probably went under the radar, but he won this backup job over D'Onta Foreman during training camp. Strong played 18 snaps compared to just 1 for Foreman, making him the clear backup to Jerome Ford ahead of Foreman. Now, in 2023, again, I'm not sure really people were talking about this, but Strong was the RB3 for the Browns. He had 63 carries, 291 yards and a touchdown, and 5 catches for 47 yards. He served as the RB3 behind Ford and Kareem Hunt after Nick Chubb went down. The Browns failed to add a significant running back this offseason, despite Chubb being, as far as I know, forever away from returning. I don't expect Chubb to play anytime soon. So, for those reasons, I have Strong as a dynasty stash. Like I said, the Browns have a weak depth chart. D'Onta Foreman is their RB3, and they cut him to hold 4 quarterbacks for a moment. And running back stashes are the ones with the quickest opportunity to gain value because injuries at the running back position happen all the time. Browns have the weak depth chart and running back, like I talked about. And also, Jerome Ford was not really super efficient in week 1. 12 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown, 6 catches for 25 yards. I mean, could Strong get more involved? Maybe. It didn't happen last year, but Kareem Hunt was on the team, who they seem to have trusted a lot more than they trust D'Onta Foreman. And we know that running backs can find themselves in good spots rather quickly. So for those reasons, Strong should be rostered in all dynasty leagues. For me, I like filling my bench with either backup running backs, wide receivers who have a really good opportunity to gain value, or backup quarterbacks or speculative quarterbacks in superflex leagues, because those are the easiest players to sell. And Pierre Strong is on my list, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about him. Next up, Jalen Nailor. So Nailor really has not done anything in his NFL career, and that's being kind. He really has not done anything. In his first 2 seasons, he has 12 total catches. 12. That's a good week for Justin Jefferson. So that's not good. He was the 6th round pick in 2022, and he's done absolutely nothing to show that he should have any value whatsoever. However, in week 1, he had a nice 21-yard touchdown catch, and that's setting him up for an opportunity this week. There is an opportunity. So, three reasons, really. Number 1, the constant camp hype. Number 2, the Jordan Addison injury or multiple injuries. And Sam Darnold looking good. So we'll do those one at a time. The camp hype. Nailor was hyped a lot during Vikings camp as the wide receiver 3 behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. We know that TJ Hawkinson is out for at least 4 weeks. Probably it's going to be closer to 6 weeks. Nailor was the favorite to fill the 3rd receiving weapon role behind Jefferson and Addison. Speaking of Addison, he dealt with a left ankle injury during training camp. Now, in week 1, he suffered a right ankle problem. These dual issues are limiting Addison. He will miss week 2. That's already been confirmed. Addison is out for week 2. So the Vikings have made it clear that they expect Jalen Nailor to fill the role of Jordan Addison in week 2. And lastly, Sam Darnold led an excellent offense in week 1. He went 19 for 24 for 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Yes, I know it was against the Giants, but Darnold looked good in the Kevin O'Connell offense. Actually, every quarterback who's played in the Kevin O'Connell offense has looked good. Every single one. So maybe Kevin O'Connell is just the best coach in the league at offensive schemes with limited quarterbacks. I don't know. But, I'm not saying it's going to be amazing, but if Addison is out, someone is going to step up beyond Justin Jefferson. And right now, Jalen Nailor is the favorite to play that role. So I think he should be rostered in all dynasty leagues. I think this is an opportunity. It kind of went under the radar week 1 because he only had 1 catch. But if he has a good game this week, people are going to spend a lot of fab on him next week. If you can get him now, then you don't have to spend any fab on him. And I would add him before people realize if he's on your Dynasty waivers. And I'm sure people are going to say, oh, Jalen Nailor is not on my Dynasty waivers. Well, some people play in shallower leagues. Some people play in leagues that people are not paying as much attention. Maybe he is in your league. Why don't you check? There's nothing to lose. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. You get my rankings, access to the Discord, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Tiers begin at just $6 a month and include all of that. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out both of my why you should join the Patreon videos on the channel. They'll explain everything that I'm offering on the Patreon. And I really appreciate everyone who signed up and any new patrons who join. I'll just say that the discussion that's going on in the Patreon Discord is really, really high level. We're talking Dynasty and all other fantasy football 24/7, 365 days a year in a way that just cannot be done on Twitter or on YouTube. So if you want my best fantasy football advice, that is the place to get it and nowhere else. And with that said, let's jump into our next. So our last stash is Ryan Tannehill. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Tannehill, but obviously he hasn't done anything this year because he's a free agent. And he wasn't good in 2023. He wasn't good. He had 64.8% completion, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 7 yards per attempt, which actually isn't bad, and 17 carries for 74 yards and touchdown. So he stopped running the ball. As a passer, he was sloppy. It really wasn't good. And then his struggles kind of started in 2022 when the Titans lost A.J. Brown. He was actually better, I think, than people remember in 2022 without A.J. Brown. But just 65.2% completion, 13 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, which actually could have been worse. 7.8 yards per attempt, which is insane to think that he put that up without A.J. Brown. And 34 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. So over the last 2 years, he stopped running the ball. He actually still had a solid yards per attempt. He didn't offer a lot of passing volume. It just wasn't anything all that great in either 2022 or 2023. But that was because he lost A.J. Brown. Now, why do I have Tannehill as a dynasty stash, even though he hasn't been great lately? Quarterback injuries. We know that he's waiting for a starting opportunity, and he's better than many NFL backups, even over the last 2 years. It's very clear that Tannehill is waiting for an opportunity to start rather than signing with a team to be a backup. If he wanted to go and just sit and be a backup, he would have signed a long time ago. There were many teams that were interested in him. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he just wants to come in if there's a big injury and save a team season if a team is interested. And I do see some more veteran quarterbacks going this route, just sitting out and waiting for an opportunity because quarterbacks are getting injured all the time. Both the Packers and the Dolphins dealt with quarterback injuries, and Tannehill is immediately a massive upgrade over their backups. I will say, for the Packers, it looks like Jordan Love is going to be returning sooner rather than later. So I don't think it was long enough of an absence for Tannehill to want to go there. But the Dolphins, I don't know when Tua is going to come back, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. If Tannehill signed with the Dolphins, he would have Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Hill and Waddle are each infinitely better than any receiving weapon he had in 2022 or 2023 with the Titans. Those were horrible offenses after A.J. Brown left. The offense would stay afloat with Tannehill. Tannehill would not be a superstar in Miami. I don't think so. But he'd have low-end quarterback 2 value at a minimum. I fully believe that any legitimate NFL quarterback, I mean a backup level quarterback, would have value in Superflex leagues in this Miami offense with Hill, Waddle, and now Devon Achane as receiving weapons. The only quarterbacks who would not are quarterbacks who are not NFL quarterbacks, like Skylar Thompson, their current backup, not an NFL quarterback. He is not an NFL backup even. He is a practice squad player. So for those reasons, I think when the Dolphins turn the page to we need to look forward, they're going to give Ryan Tannehill a call. Maybe he says no, but on the off chance he says yes, he needs to be rostered in all Dynasty Superflex leagues, because I do think he's going to sign and he's going to make starts for a team this year. These are the types of players who gain a lot of value in Dynasty Superflex leagues. So I would look at him. He should be picked up in all leagues, 100%, no doubt. Now, I kind of alluded to it already, but we can talk about the Tua Tagovailoa concussions, another concussion that he had this week. So obviously we discussed this a little bit in the Ryan Tannehill section, but I just wanted to say this. So I am concerned about Tagovailoa's health. I mean, look, I myself have had actually quite a few concussions, oddly not playing football. One of them was from the soccer ball to the head. The other was from hitting my head on a wall. But, there were a couple of these occurred in a very short time frame. And I'll be honest, I've never been the same. I've never quite, I have migraines all the time, including actually right now when doing this video. And, there was one time where I got, I think, kicked in the head. I was playing soccer. It wasn't not a highly intense game, but I was young and stupid. So I just kept playing for a while, and I couldn't tell you. I mean, my head hurt maybe for 4 weeks after that or more. It was really bad. I didn't do anything about it. So, concussions are serious. And I don't think we're going to be seeing Tagovailoa return to the field anytime soon. I don't know when it's going to be. And I don't think there's really any point in speculating on that. The only thing I will say is I expect him to go on IR. I think it's going to be a minimum of 4 weeks. But I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. But anything beyond that, I don't think there's too much to speculate about. As for what I would recommend doing, nothing. I wouldn't really recommend buying. I wouldn't really recommend selling with Tagovailoa specifically. But I would take a look at Tyreek Hill, who I'm very concerned about. Tyreek Hill is already 30, and his value is not going to survive with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. I hope the Dolphins do sign Tannehill for Hill's value's sake, because it's not going to survive with Skylar Thompson. It's going to go away. 30-year-old player, if they're not producing an elite level, their value is going to drop significantly. So I'm concerned about Tyreek Hill. On the opposite end, I'm not too concerned about Jaylen Waddle. Jaylen Waddle to me would be a buy low, actually. He's way younger than Hill, 4.5 years younger. He's turned 26 at the end in December. He just signed a long-term deal. And either Tagovailoa is going to return in 2025, or the Dolphins have an entire offseason to get somebody, whether it's Sam Darnold, whoever, at quarterback. It will not be as bad as it is now. I've heard some people saying that Waddle's dynasty value is over, finished. I mean, Waddle has looked really good in both games. So if people are just dumping Jaylen Waddle now, I would definitely be buying low on him. So I'm not out on Waddle at all in Dynasty. This other piece of news dropped today. Again, I'm not going to cover all the news, but I thought this was pretty significant. Marquise Brown went to injured reserve. That shoulder injury is going to require surgery. And it looks like they're talking months. I think he's going to miss a minimum of 8 weeks. It could be the entire season. To me, this is the end of Brown's dynasty career. He's going to miss most of the season. He turns 28 in 2025. I can't see him being a trusted dynasty asset again. So with that being said, I think Marquise Brown is just in that roster clogger dynasty range for me. And yeah, I'm not really interested in rostering him, trading for him, or anything like that. Now, if you liked the video, make sure to drop a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. As always, the best way to support the channel is to subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty, start sit, redraft, and more. And every sign-up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.